What happened to girls who turned 16 in your community? In my religious community, parents were required to enter their virgin daughters into the marriage lottery at 16, where the oldest men got first pick. I grew up in this isolated compound watching the spring lottery happen every year since I could remember. The elders would line up girls in white dresses while their fathers stood behind them holding paperwork that signed away their daughters' lives. Elder Cyrus ran the whole system at 72 years old and always got to choose first because he had the most righteousness points from decades of donations and service to the compound. My mother had gone through this same lottery when she turned 16 and ended up married to my father, who was 27 years older than her. The changes in my life started when I turned 15 last winter. My mother began crying at random moments throughout the day and would grab my shoulders while apologizing for things I didn't understand yet. My father started drinking more of his homemade wine after evening prayers and avoided looking at me directly. They enrolled me in wife training, where Sister Ashley taught us girls how to cook meals for 20 people and properly iron men's shirts while practicing phrases like "yes, husband" over and over until the words made me feel sick. Sister Ashley also taught us basic computer skills for managing household inventories, which she said modern wives needed to know. Everything became clear when my friend Amara visited one night after her husband fell asleep. She had won her lottery the previous year and now carried her second baby at just 17 years old. Amara sat on my bed and explained the whole process that nobody would tell us beforehand. The men didn't actually draw names like we thought, but instead bid on girls using righteousness points they earned through donations and service work. The girl who got the most points had to marry whoever bid them. And Elder Cyrus had been saving his points for 4 years, specifically waiting for me to turn 16. The horror got worse as Amara described what happened after the selection. After the selection, they take you to the consummation chamber that same night, where an elder witnesses to verify the marriage is binding. Her hands shook as she spoke, and I felt my stomach turn. She explained how the witness sat in the corner reading scripture while the marriage was consummated to make sure it couldn't be annulled later. 2 weeks before my 16th birthday, the preparation intensified. They took me to the purity confirmation chamber, where the compound doctor examined me while my parents and several elders watched. He announced I was intact, and they marked my name on the lottery roster with a gold star that meant I was verified for marriage. Elder Cyrus started sending gifts to our house, including white dresses that somehow fit perfectly and jars of blackberry jam I had mentioned liking once years ago. Mom burned the gifts at first, but Dad made her display them properly after the elders complained. One night, Mom pulled me aside and whispered, "He's been saving points for 4 years specifically for you and has enough to outbid God himself." I finally understood why she had been crying and apologizing all year. I also discovered my 13-year-old sister Annabelle had been hiding her period for 6 months because she was terrified of entering the lottery in 3 years. The night before my lottery date arrived faster than I wanted. I couldn't sleep and found Mom in the kitchen at 3 a.m. with her car keys on the counter and a full tank of gas in the car. She had packed clothes and put cash in the glove box, along with a paper showing the email address for a women's shelter she had copied from her friend who escaped years ago. I woke Annabelle and we left through the back door, driving 6 hours straight to the state capitol, where I used a library computer to email the shelter. The compound's retaliation started immediately after we escaped. They filed missing person reports and had connections throughout our state who helped search for us. We stayed hidden for 2 months, moving between 3 different shelters whenever someone got too close. Elder Cyrus tracked down the second shelter and stood outside for hours each day. I've waited 4 years and I can wait longer because God always delivers his promises. He brought flowers and gifts every time and never showed any doubt that I would eventually be returned to him. The situation reached its breaking point when they held an emergency lottery for Annabelle. Mom called the shelter sobbing that they had married Annabelle off that very morning to brother Otis, who was 55 years old, as punishment for helping me escape. The shelter director had been documenting our case for months and finally had enough evidence. The federal investigation took 8 months, but eventually led to Elder Cyrus's arrest on charges of money laundering and organizing forced marriages of minors. He got 15 years in federal prison, but most members had already fled to compounds in Mexico. Mom sent one final letter saying they were starting fresh across the border and that she had done what she could by leaving those car keys.